Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep into the world of entrepreneurship today, but with a bit of a twist.
Hmm.
We're not going to be talking about the usual business advice.
Right.
We're going to explore the mindsets of successful entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Our source material for this deep dive is a lecture by business expert John Mullins.
Okay.
He breaks down 6 counter-conventional ways of thinking that can lead to extraordinary outcomes.
Very cool.
And these aren't just for people starting companies.
Right.
They're valuable for anyone looking to shake things up and get creative with challenges.
Absolutely.
So what's fascinating about these mindsets?
Well, what's fascinating is how they challenge the traditional corporate playbook.
Yeah.
They kind of go against the grain of what many of us are taught in business school or experience in large companies.
That's right. Like the first mindset is this idea of, yes, we can't.
Yeah.
Which might sound simple, but there's real depth to it.
Absolutely.
You know, in big companies, there's often this emphasis on sticking to what,
Right.
your core competencies.
But entrepreneurs seem to throw that rule book out the window.
Exactly. They're willing to say yes to opportunities even when they don't have all the answers figured out yet.
Mm-hmm.
And a great example of this is Arnold Correa,
Okay.
a Brazilian entrepreneur who built a massively successful business by constantly embracing new ventures.
Oh, wow.
Event management, satellite,
Huh.
broadcasting, in-store advertising,
Wow.
all without prior experience in those fields.
It's almost like that fake it till you make it mentality,
Kind of.
but with a more thoughtful approach.
Yes.
Correa wasn't just blindly saying yes.
Right.
He was committed to learning and adapting along the way.
Absolutely.
I remember when I had to give my first big presentation at work,
Oh, yeah.
I was terrified.
I bet.
Almost said no.
Uh-huh.
But then I thought about Correa's story,
Yeah.
how he embraced the unknown and
Yeah.
it gave me the push I needed.
It's powerful.
Have you ever found yourself saying yes to something that scared you?
Oh
What happened?
yeah, all the time. What did you learn from pushing past that fear?
You know, that willingness to learn is key. It's not about recklessness.
Right.
It's about having the confidence to tackle new challenges head on.
Okay, so let's move on to mindset number 2, which is problem first,
Yeah.
not product first.
Okay.
I feel like we're bombarded with new products all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
New and improved versions of everything.
Mhm.
But how often are they really solving new problems?
Right.
Sometimes it feels like companies are just tweaking things for the sake of appearing innovative.
Yeah, you've hit on a critical point. Entrepreneurs, on the other hand, are laser focused on identifying and solving real problems. They're not just tweaking existing products.
Right.
They're digging deep to uncover unmet needs and pain points.
I see.
Take Jonathan Thorne, for example.
Okay.
He developed a new type of surgical forceps
Okay.
designed to prevent sticking to human tissue during surgery.
Oh, wow.
Initially, he targeted plastic surgeons,
Mm-hmm.
but the business didn't take off as he'd hoped.
So what did he do? Scrap the whole idea?
No, he had an aha moment.
Okay.
Thorne realized that neurosurgeons actually had a much bigger need for this type of forceps because they work on incredibly delicate tissues in the brain and spine.
Wow.
By shifting his focus to this new target market, his business exploded.
So interesting. It makes you wonder how many potentially game-changing products are out there just waiting for the right problem to solve.
Right.
Has anyone out there ever been frustrated by a product that just seemed to completely miss the mark?
Sure.
What was the underlying problem it failed to address?
Now let's shift gears to mindset number 3. Think narrow, not broad.
Okay.
This might sound counterintuitive,
Yeah.
especially in this age of mass marketing,
Right.
but it's a core principle for many successful entrepreneurs.
Interesting.
Instead of trying to be everything to everyone, they zero in on a very specific niche.
Okay.
A perfect example is Nike.
Okay. Love Nike.
When Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman started the company, they weren't trying to conquer the entire athletic footwear market.
Right.
They had a hyper-specific problem in mind,
Yeah.
the needs of elite distance runners.
Wow.
At the time, runners were getting sprained ankles and shin splints
Oh.
because shoes were mainly designed for sprinting, not for the impact of long-distance running.
Right.
So Knight and Bowerman focused on creating shoes with better lateral stability,
Okay.
a wider footbed,
Uh-huh.
more cushioning, and lighter weight.
Wow.
All features tailored to address the unique problems faced by distance runners.
I see.
That deep understanding of their niche allowed them to create truly innovative products that runners loved.
Right.
And from there, they were able to expand to other markets,
Huh.
eventually becoming the global brand we know today.
It's like they went deep instead of wide, and it paid off big time.
Exactly.
Do any of you have a niche passion or expertise that could be the starting point for solving a specific problem? Maybe something you're super knowledgeable about that others struggle with.
That's a good question.
Now on to mindset number 4,
Okay.
asking for the cash and riding the float.
Interesting.
This one highlights a big difference between how corporations and entrepreneurs view cash.
Okay.
In the corporate world, there's often this tendency to hoard cash,
Yeah.
focusing on shareholder returns
Wow.
and stock buybacks.
Uh-huh.
But entrepreneurs see cash differently. They see it as fuel that keeps their ventures moving forward.
Yeah.
It's like the difference between saving for a rainy day and investing in your dream project, right?
Exactly.
A prime example of this is Elon Musk and Tesla.
Oh, yeah.
When Musk joined the company, the plan was to build a luxury sports car first
Right.
and then work towards more affordable models.
Right.
But Musk flipped the script. Instead of waiting to generate revenue from their first car,
Yeah.
they pre-sold 100 Tesla Roadsters for $100,000 each before building a single one. Wait, so they were asking people to pay for a car that didn't even exist yet?
Bold move.
That's a pretty bold move.
It is, but it's also brilliant.
Okay.
This move gave them $10 million in cash to get started
Wow.
and validated the demand for their product.
Smart.
They later repeated this with the Model 3,
Oh, wow.
securing $500 million in pre-orders.
Seriously.
This approach mitigates risk because you're only building what people have already committed to buying.
Yeah.
It also creates a powerful feedback loop.
Okay.
Customer demand fuels development, which in turn generates more demand. Have you ever considered testing an idea this way? Pre-selling a product or service to see if there's real interest and secure funding?
It's definitely a different way of thinking about starting a business.
Absolutely.
Instead of seeking investors first, you're going straight to the customers.
Precisely.
Now let's explore mindset number 5. Beg, borrow, but please don't steal. This one's all about resourcefulness and making the most of what's already available.
I like it.
Especially important for startups with limited capital.
Right.
Think of Go Ape, the treetop adventure company.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them.
Instead of buying land and building elaborate structures,
Yeah.
they partnered with the UK Forestry Commission.
Oh, cool.
So they basically set up their adventure courses in existing forests.
Exactly.
They were borrowing the trees, restrooms, parking lots, and other resources already in place.
That's great.
This brilliant move allowed them to launch with minimal upfront investment
Wow.
and create a win-win partnership.
Yeah.
The Forestry Commission got increased visitor traffic,
Uh-huh.
and Go Ape got prime locations for their courses.
Makes sense.
This mindset challenges us to think outside the box about the resources we have at our disposal
Yes.
and to look for creative partnerships that benefit everyone involved.
Absolutely.
What underutilized resources or potential partnerships might you be overlooking in your own endeavors?
It's like that old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But in this case, it's also about what you have access to and how you can leverage those existing resources.
Speaking of shaking things up, mindset number 6 is a bit of a controversial one.
Okay.
Permission who needs permission.
Hmm.
This highlights a fundamental difference between the corporate and entrepreneurial worlds.
How so?
In large companies, there's a heavy emphasis on following rules and seeking permission before taking action,
Right.
which can stifle innovation, especially in fast-moving industries.
Yeah.
Imagine if Uber had sought permission from regulators before launching their ride-sharing service.
They probably would have been shut down immediately.
Right. The existing taxi industry would have fought tooth and nail to protect their turf.
Absolutely.
It's not about breaking laws or acting unethically.
Right.
It's about recognizing that regulations often lag behind innovation, especially in the digital age.
Right.
Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith
Yeah.
and trust that you can course correct along the way. Of course, it's important to be mindful of the potential consequences
Yeah,
and to operate within the bounds of the law.
of course.
But there are times when pushing boundaries and challenging the status quo can lead to groundbreaking progress.
It's true.
It's a delicate balance for sure. You don't want to be reckless,
Right.
but you also don't want to let fear of the unknown paralyze you.
It's a tough one.
Have you ever felt stifled by bureaucracy or unnecessary rules? When might it be worth pushing those boundaries to bring a new idea to life? What are your thoughts on navigating that gray area?
Well, I think I think it's about finding that sweet spot
Yeah.
between calculated risk and responsible action.
Right.
These mindsets can be incredibly empowering,
Yeah.
but they also require a strong sense of ethics
Of course.
and awareness of the broader impact of your decisions.
Absolutely. It's not about throwing caution to the wind.
No.
It's about having the guts to challenge the norms.
Right.
And explore what's possible. What's so cool about these mindsets, though, is that they're not just for entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
They're valuable for anyone facing a challenge.
Right.
Or wanting to approach things more creatively.
I agree. Whether you're leading a team, working on a personal project, or even just trying to navigate a tricky situation,
Yeah.
these mindsets can help you break through barriers and get to solutions in a new way.
Yeah, that's encouraging to hear.
And the best part is, John Mullins emphasizes that these aren't just innate traits.
Yeah.
They're skills you can develop.
So how can we actually cultivate these counter-conventional mindsets in ourselves and the people around us?
Well, it starts with awareness.
Okay.
We need to recognize those patterns of thinking that hold us back.
Right.
Things like fear of failure, the constant need for permission,
Mm-hmm.
or always jumping to products instead of focusing on the problem first.
Yeah.
Once we're aware of these patterns, we can start to challenge them.
So it's like recognizing those mental roadblocks
Exactly.
and then figuring out how to reroute.
Yeah, and I imagine experimentation plays a big role too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Trying things, stepping outside of our comfort zones,
Mm-hmm.
and being okay with failing sometimes.
Absolutely. It's about embracing a growth mindset,
Yeah.
believing that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and learning from those stumbles along the way.
Exactly. But it's not just about individual growth.
Right.
It's also about how these mindsets are changing the nature of work and innovation as a whole. What do you think?
Well, it seems like we're seeing a shift away from those rigid top-down structures in many industries.
Yeah.
There's a growing recognition that real innovation often comes from those on the front lines.
Yes.
The ones who are willing to question the way things are done and try new approaches.
Right. These mindsets empower people to take ownership, experiment, and drive change from within,
I see.
regardless of their job title.
It's like fostering a culture of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Where everyone feels empowered to contribute new ideas and challenge the conventional thinking.
Precisely. And that's essential for any organization that wants to thrive in today's constantly evolving environment. So for everyone listening, what can you do to start putting these mindsets into practice in your own lives and workplaces?
That's the million-dollar question. Any practical tips or exercises we can share with our listeners?
Absolutely. One powerful exercise is to take a challenge you're facing.
Okay.
It could be a work project, a personal goal, or even a broader issue that matters to you.
Right.
Then try applying one or more of these mindsets to that challenge.
So if you're stuck on a project, you could ask yourself,
Yeah.
what would happen if I just said yes to this seemingly impossible task?
Exactly.
What resources could I leverage? How could I test this idea without waiting for permission?
It's about shifting your perspective,
Yeah.
challenging your assumptions, and looking for creative solutions that might not be obvious at first. Another helpful exercise is to reflect on your past successes.
Right.
Think about a time you achieved something you thought was impossible or overcame a significant obstacle.
Right.
What mindsets were you using even if you weren't aware of it at the time?
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like mining our own experiences for clues about how we've already used these mindsets successfully in the past.
Exactly.
It can help us figure out what works for us and build on those strengths.
Precisely by analyzing those past wins, we can gain valuable insights into our own strengths.
Right.
And develop strategies for cultivating those counter-conventional mindsets that have already served us well.
This deep dive has been so insightful.
Me too.
It's clear that these mindsets aren't just abstract ideas.
No.
They're powerful tools for driving innovation and achieving extraordinary things.
I completely agree. John Mullins has provided us with a framework for thinking differently,
Yeah.
challenging the status quo and unlocking our potential both individually and collectively.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a question to ponder.
Okay.
What one mindset are you going to put into practice this week?
And how will that mindset empower you to break through those barriers and make progress toward your goals? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Share your stories and insights on social media using #DeepDiveMindsets.
Good idea.
We'll be back in a moment to continue this conversation. We're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into these counter-conventional mindsets of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's been a great conversation.
We've been talking about how these ways of thinking can help us tackle challenges in a whole new light.
Mm-hmm.
But, just knowing about them isn't enough.
No, not at all.
We've got to put them into action.
Absolutely. It's all about taking those inspiring ideas
Right.
and turning them into real-world results.
Totally.
It's that leap from thinking to doing that makes all the difference.
These mindsets are just concepts unless we actually apply them.
Right.
It's time to stop just thinking about them and start experimenting with them in our lives.
And remember, it's not about being perfect
No.
or having all the answers up front.
Right.
Cultivating these mindsets is an ongoing journey of self-discovery, trying things out and learning as we go.
There will definitely be bumps along the way.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe even some outright flops.
Yeah.
But that's all part of the process.
Absolutely.
What matters is that we keep pushing ourselves,
Yes.
questioning those old assumptions,
Mm-hmm.
and staying open to new possibilities.
John Mullen's lecture really highlights something important.
What's that?
We all have the potential to be change makers,
Yeah.
no matter our background, job title, or current situation.
It's about tapping into that inner entrepreneur that we all have.
Right.
That spark of creativity and resourcefulness that's just waiting to be ignited.
And then using that spark to solve problems,
Yeah.
create value, and make a positive impact on the world around us.
So to everyone listening, I want to leave you with this final thought. Don't underestimate the power of your own ideas and your ability to make a difference.
Embrace these counter-conventional mindsets,
Yes.
challenge the status quo, and go out there and make things happen.
That wraps up our deep dive into the mindsets of entrepreneurs. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and are feeling inspired to put these ideas into practice. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.